Welcome. Good evening. It's your man, God of Dots, and we are back. How you doing, Miss Murphy? Look, I was, preparing for the show, had some stuff going on, and after listening to Rex, I was like, yeah, I'm glad them folks ain't found my channels. Jesus, be offense. How you doing, Dr. Nikki? All right, not gonna be a long show because I do plan on schedule permitting. I will be doing a Freestyle Friday show tomorrow. Shout out to Gator Girl for giving me the um, content for tomorrow's show. Like I said, schedule permitting, I'm gonna try to get it in tomorrow for a Freestyle Friday show. Should be a very good one. Thank God for. Listen, I was clouded. I was in the clouds, like like listening to the background, like what is he talking about? But anyway, ooh, that was rough. Like Mikey older brother. But anyway, yeah, Freestyle Friday show tomorrow. Shout out to Get a Girl for giving me the topic for tomorrow's show. And for those who haven't heard the news, and I was, she kind of broke the news to me because I had been keeping up with what's going on with baseball. Yo, a shout out. How you doing, Gator Girl? The Negro League stats have been added to MLB record books, and it's been a lot of controversy from a lot of controversy revolving around that. We'll kind of talk about it. Like when you broke the story, I kind of went into the Twitter spaces, and yeah, they upset. They very upset because when you include those stats, and here's the crazy part about it. I don't think they are done. I think they're still going to be trying to include some more stats into it, and we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. What impact that is on the record book? How who the Sun Dodgers is. Yeah, they 38. Listen, get a girl 38 high. They ate the word. And we'll kind of talk about that more in depth tomorrow as we kind of get into, like I said, do a Freestyle Friday show, time permitting. Should have some time, but yeah, we're gonna get into that. And I'm talking about 38 ain't the word. They big man, and we'll kind of talk about what that means culture, because it's certain things that as you call them, the Sun Dodgers hold very dear. Baseball records is one of them. I could also kind of look over there at golf, and how that kind of goes. There's certain things in the athletic realm. We're going to keep it there that they hold very, 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 very sacred, and they want it to themselves. And when someone challenges that, it's a problem. And the crazy thing about it, it's not in all sports, but it's very particular sports. But we'll talk about that tomorrow's show. Make sure you tune in for that. You have a question? Go ahead, Miss Murphy, because tonight's show is not that long. Because game 5? Game 5 is Game 5 is tonight. Tip off is at 8:30. It's not gonna be a long show. But yeah, you go ahead, drop it in the chat. I'll read it and answer it. It's not, like I said, it's not gonna be a long show. Do have some off the court news as far as the NBA is concerned, and I found this to be very, very interesting. Congratulations to Tyronn Lue for signing the contract extension. 5 years, $70 million. Now, I think Ty Lue is a very good coach. He does have a ring in his time with the Cavaliers. He does have a ring to his credit, but is his contract extension more about what he has produced as far as his wins and losses are concerned, or did they severely I think this is the case for me when I look at his contract. I think the Clippers severely overpaid for him to keep him from going across the hall and rejoining LeBron James in the purple and gold. 5 years, get money. Listen, I ain't mad. I ain't mad at the money, and we're gonna talk about the Timberwolves Mavs game in just a second. But listen, to overpay, think about that. 5 years, $70 million on an extension. And it wasn't like Ty Lue was making chump change before the extension. 5 years, $70 million. Now, I get you know, you want to incentivize your coach to stay. You don't want him to go to the rival team who plays in the same city as you. Um, you're about to open up a new building. You know, I get all that. I get all that. Trust me, I get it. But I'm not paying any goddamn NBA coach 5 years, $70 million. Ain't doing it. Ain't fucking doing it. No goddamn way. I'm sorry. And now, like I said, Ty Lue is one of the better coaches in the NBA. Like I said, he does have a ring to his credit. He does the best he can with what he has, you know, in LA as far as the Clippers are concerned. But if, you know, if I'm, you know, Steve Ballmer and I'm the owner of the Clippers, listen, I get it. You put a little extra into his pocket, you know, add a little. Hey, we gonna get you some, you know, off-season flights. You know, you can use the private jet. I get all of that. This is the world of sports. But 5 years, $70 million? No, hell no. You talking about paying a guy like he got that, like Ty Lue is gonna come off the bench as the sixth man. 5 years, $70 million for a coach? No, ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. Yeah, you're right. He's desperate. It screams of desperation. Like 5 years, $70 million for a head coach. You know, let's let that kind of sink in. Let that kind of sink in. Like the only coaches I know that have made that kind of money in recent memory, and they're not even in the world of basketball. Not even in the world of basketball. I'm thinking about Nick Saban down in Alabama, Roll Tide. You know, college football coaches get that kind of stupid money. Get that kind of stupid money. You just don't see it in the world of NBA head coaches. You just don't. Now, when they're thinking about bringing a guy like JJ Redick in and paying him to be somebody's head coach, like 5 years, 70 million, crazy. But before we kind of close up, it's like I said, don't forget your question, Ms. Merkel, because I will answer your question. Talk about tonight's game. Let's kind of look back at game 4. Timberwolves, I would say this off rip. I had you guys winning in 7. I do want the series to extend. I do want the series to extend just for my viewing pleasure. And you know, the hopes of seeing something, you know, historic. You know, nobody's ever come back down from a 3-0 lead in the series, much less in the Western Conference Final. But if I'm the Timberwolves, you know, we got the win, but was it a winning formula going forward? Is Cat going to play like that? Is Cat going to shoot like that in the fourth quarter? You know, Kyrie didn't have a great game. Excuse me. Kyrie didn't have a great game. Luka did what Luka does. The others for the Mavs didn't really step up like I thought they would in a closeout game at home. Now you're on the road in Minnesota. It's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. But I don't think the Timberwolves had a real. I don't think they showed a formula of moving forward for success. I think Dallas had an off game more so than the Timberwolves imposed their will on them. I think that's what it was. I can't based off what I've seen, and this is just the playoff run. I'm not sure why Gobert is still getting heavy minutes in this series. I'm not understanding why Cat is still in love. He had a good shooting game, in game 4, but that for me that's not sustainable. Hey, get your big behind down on the block and punish these boys, and punish them. Anthony Edwards had a great game. Went out there, put up the numbers, rebounds, assists, did it all. Carried the team to a win. I'm still concerned about him expending too much energy on the defensive end, trying to keep up with Luka and Kyrie. I think they need to do a much more. Honestly, if I'm Minnesota, I could go smaller. Gobert, I just need you for 20 to 25 minutes. You're going to the bench. He gives you He's not giving you anything on either end of the court, because it's not like Dallas is a team that is known to drive and to drive and penetrate and attack the rim. That's not there. Other than Kyrie and Luka in spots, they're looking to drive and create shots, open shots for other people. They want to spread out the floor. Gobert just kind of, you're a liability even in this series on the defensive end, because they don't have a big man that's going to dedicate. They're bringing him out, and for the life of me, you saw a lot of it in the first three games that they won. You saw a lot of it in game four. Minnesota was able to overcome it, but they running high screen and roll every goddamn time down the court. Either it's Kyrie or it's Luka, and they're getting Gobert in a lot of mismatches. He looks confused when he's outside of the paint, and they're taking advantage of it. I agree with you, Gator Girl. Dallas definitely fumbled at the finish line, because despite how well Cat was shooting, I mean, it took all of those shots to hold on for a win in the closeout. And I think Dallas is, the shots just wasn't falling for them. But I think they're going to come out with a renewed focus. I think you're in trouble, Dallas, if Minnesota comes out here and picks up a decisive game 5 win. I think Dallas, because the pressure will be back on Dallas. You'll start hearing about it. Nobody's ever come back from 3-0. Nobody's ever come back from 3-0. Minnesota was the favorite coming into this series. I mean, the pressure's on you, Dallas. I think Dallas, you got to come out with the mindset that Minnesota came out with and treat this like you about to get closed out. Because I know you be going home for game 6, but I don't like them. I don't want Minnesota to get in any kind of rhythm. I don't want Anthony Edwards to find his stroke. I don't want none of that. I don't want Cat to get no kind of confidence, because when you look at these teams on paper, talent wise, Timberwolves are the better team. Timberwolves are the better team. Like I said, they were the favorite coming into the series. I had it going 7. I hope it goes 7. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a fan. I hope it goes 7, but I got a feeling. Who does Boston want to play though, Gator? I think Boston. Honestly, I think Boston wants. If I'm Boston, who do I match up well with? Who gives me the bigger advantage? I would have said, coming into the postseason, Dallas defense would be what hurt them, but their defense has been very good this playoff run. If I'm Boston, I want Minnesota. I want Minnesota. I want Minnesota, and this for the simple fact, why I want Minnesota. If I'm a Boston fan, Minnesota hasn't, especially over this series with the Mavs, have shown, hey, they can go, they can go cold, they can be inconsistent. The rotations are not always there. The defense is not, like, if you can, and Boston has the personnel to torture a Rudy Gobert. Because you bring out an Al Horford, you bring up a Kristaps Porzingis, and run high. Think about it; those guys right there running a high screen and roll, like Dallas has been doing to him repeatedly throughout this series. But you have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday initiating the high screen and roll game, and you got Porzingis and you got Horford. He has to come out. He has to come out. He has to come out. I think if I'm Boston, I want Minnesota. Even though Minnesota is a more talented team than Dallas, I think Dallas with Luka and the potential of Kyrie going nuclear in that series, big stage, NBA Finals, Kyrie shows up. I want Minnesota. They're streaky. Ant-Man shot has not been falling like it has been early in this postseason. Jaden McDaniels game kind of has come and gone this series with the Mavs. I got Gobert to torture. Cat's going to fall in love with shooting the 3. I think it's a better matchup for Boston to get Minnesota. I think when you think about the best player on the court in a Mavs Celtics series, I think you go Luka 1. I would go Tatum 2. I would go Kyrie 3, and I'll go Jalen Brown 4. Um, yeah, I think Luke would be the best player in that series by far. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I do agree with you. Gator Conley does have to kind of get it going. He had a good start to game 4. He had a good start to game 4. I need him to put more pressure on Dallas defense as far as the guards. Put more pressure on, make them work a little bit harder. But Minnesota, Gobert, 20, 25 minutes. Cat, you're gonna have to play the 5 for this series, or I'm giving Niles Reed Gobert's minute. He's just a fish out of water. What's going on, brother? Serenade. Yeah, yeah. I think Luka, big time, money time. The most clutch player still left. In the playoffs. In the playoffs, Kyrie, like I said, Kyrie, NBA Finals. I know what I'm getting. He hasn't really exploded. He hasn't had one of those 40, 50-point games. Where you like, yeah, that's real. I think he'll be supremely motivated, and I think Dallas with Luka's ability to create, Kyrie's ability to create, the fact they don't run a big man like that. PJ Washington is going to eat. But who do you put on Luka? Do you throw Drew Holiday on it? I think Drew Holiday's a little too small. Do you really want Jaylen Brown in foul trouble guarding Luka? I'm just saying. If I'm Boston, I'm pulling for Minnesota. One, it gives me more time to rest, gives Porzingis more time to get healthier. But two, Minnesota is a better matchup for us. I think if the Celtics get Minnesota the way they're playing right now, unless something changes, and Minnesota come back to win this year, it's a way better matchup. Way. Yeah. Who's guarding this Gator girl? Who is stopping Luka? Who is stopping Luka without putting themselves in foul trouble? He cooks Boston on a regular basis. He cooks Boston on a regular basis. And if you're telling me you're gonna have Drew Holiday or Derek White guarding Luka, they're too small. They're too small. Jaylen Brown is a capable defender. Jason Tatum is a capable defender. But you don't want them to get a heavy dose of Luka. That means foul trouble. That means more energy being expended on that end of the floor. You don't want that. I'm telling you. Horford's old ass will clamp. I like Al Horford. I like Al Horford for a while, and he's just managed to kind of stay in the league. Like I said, it'd be a real fun matchup. Because I think matchup wise, and based on how teams are playing right now, matchup wise, Minnesota's easy. I think Luka and Kyrie, that combination of having to devote that much energy to two guys that can go get their own shots, like. You're talking about Luka's averaging about 33, 34 for the playoffs. Kyrie's right behind him, like 28, 29. Two guys that can go get 30 and don't need help doing it. I think that puts a lot of pressure on the Boston defense, who have, be honest, hasn't looked as dominant as they were during the regular season. I mean, Pacers they was up in 3 of those games. Pacers was up. Yeah, they got swept. Young team making mistakes, but they was up in the fourth quarter in 3 of those games. So it's not like Boston can't be beat. I don't look at them as no invincible team. You've had a a blessed run through the Eastern Conference playoffs. I mean, let's keep it a buck. You've had a very blessed run. I'm not going to put it all on injuries, but injuries do play a factor in it. Ooh, yeah, that hit right. Luka's big, strong guard. What seems like Luka is sneakily quicker than you think. He kind of lulls you to sleep. he kind of lulls you to sleep with his play style, and because he'll burst when at the right time. He manages that very very well. He's a very deceptively quick player. He's not gonna blow by you, but he'll hit you with a move, and you're like, damn, how did he get by me? Yeah, I do agree with that. Yeah, he is a low key shorter joker. I mean, and then I think he contributed that to playing overseas, because you don't see players, American players really playing like that, where they're maximizing every motion. A lot of stock is put in how fast you are, how high you can jump, and traditionally, especially over the last decade, foreign players come over with a little bit more refinement to their game. Not to say that's everybody, but most of them come over with a little bit more refinement to their game. So, yeah, I do agree with that assessment. All right, let me get my behind closing out. Miss Murphy, if you still listen, just drop your question in the chat. I'll answer it for you before I close out. Like I said, time permitting, tomorrow we will be doing a Freestyle Friday show. And credit goes to Gator Girl for picking the topic this week. We will be talking about the Negro League stats being included in Major League Baseball record books, and how what she called them, the Sun Dodgers, are very, very, very upset. We'll kind of talk about that more in detail tomorrow, because it rewrote. It's not like they just threw them in there. It rewrote a lot of the major records that they kind of hold their hat on, as standards of greatness. So we'll see. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. She dropped on StreamYard. Y'all know how I get when all the small and I said and benefiting from the merge from the other sector. Um, I was say, oh, now I'll talk about more of this in detail tomorrow. Benefiting. Well, I don't even look at it as, let's sidebar here. I don't even look at it as a merge. Um, I look at more of, um, we're following storylines involving people that we know from our space. So I don't, if it's not involving people from our space, um, I mean, I'm just going to speak for me. I'm not paying attention to it. I know where a lot of people are like hanging out at to kind of get the scoop on what's going on. I'm more or less concerned with what's going on with our people as far as like content wise. But if they're talking about, once they get to talking about what's going on amongst themselves, like I'm good. Because I don't know the backdrop, I don't know the story. I really don't even know who they're talking about half the time. Like I know who some of the key characters are, but as far as benefiting, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say necessarily benefiting, because unless you're trying to cater to that crowd, which I see, like I said, I will talk about this a lot more tomorrow. Yeah, cloud chase, okay, I'm being nice about it over here, but that's what it is, cloud chase. Unless you're trying to cater to that audience, I don't see the purpose of trying to cover everything. I like I said, I just cover what goes on with the people that I know. And I don't see it as yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that, brother. So that you benefit in the short term, because because if you hit the panels, they're gonna come seek you out, and it's some people, especially off my last live I did over in the other space. It's some people that from that space that kind of sub. I got like maybe 10 subs from it, but that wasn't my intent. It was kind of like, oh yeah, go check them out. Because y'all know me, I like to cater to my people, but I talk about what's going on with my people sometimes when they're in other spaces. But uh uh well, see, here's kind of like the issue with that, Miss Murph. It's like and I think the sector as a whole is going to have to kind of endure the field trip until um and for a minute. I'm not going to put a timetable on it, but is, we know our content is about us and what we got going on, and it's I try to, I'm gonna speak for me. I try to keep it focused on what they're doing, and and more or less not be concerned about what they're with the space around them is doing. Like, you won't catch me commenting on a lady Nika, unless this has something to do with our people that I found to be interesting. Like, it was my first time listening to a replay of was Ronnie IQ. Like, I've never been to the channel, I've never been in the chat, but someone was like, "Hey, you might want to go check this out," and it was some interesting commentary. Other than that, I'm not I know it's nauseating sometimes, but you kind of have to enjoy the ride, because that's where the majority of the people are flocking to. And I don't want to be the one to create some fake shit just so we could say, like, I try to make it, what they got going on, make it, relates to us, and have those, kind of you I'm trying to put it in words, but I just like look at my last live. Like, it's about sector people, and like I kind of touch on what they doing outside of the space. Like, it's just a field trip. It's a field trip. Is entertaining for some. Some people, like the nigga says, it's overbearing. Like, I don't want to be beat across the head. Like I said, you can get lost, trying to keep up with what they got going on. Like, I just try to keep it to, okay, what's the highlight of what people that I know, because I can bring that back to us and kind of keep it at, like, I don't want to name drop. I'm not putting folks' name in the title. I just like, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing with our people, and kind of keep it moving. But I think at this time, even with the um content creators not going live like that, like, I think people, either you're over there all the time, or you're doing other stuff. I think some of the content creators, like, we're working on doing other stuff. Like, of course, I've been over here doing this, but then working on the Saturday show. I'm in the like early beginning stages of working with another creator to like do a whole another show that's not sector related, fucking read none of that. It's like it's a completely different kind of show. And I'm once we get together, kind of talk about the particulars of that. I think and it's people coming in, kind of filling the space slowly but surely. We go through these transitions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you gotta understand, Miss Murph. In regards to the LB Dr. Nikki Live, that's not really a conversation that a lot of people necessarily feel comfortable having. Because everybody's kind of got like their view on it. It's not really a comfortable talking point for a lot of people, because they want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to be anyway. I feel you. Yeah, Ms. Murphy. No, the object is not coming back. It's not coming back now. She gets mentioned in passing, but and that's only because who you're contacted to try to get back into the algorithm, to the rotation. Like, nah, we've kind of really moved on from that, because it's nauseating, and it can be repetitive. I mean, I poke fun of the Crayola kid. but that's because I can. um, yeah. I'm over being an easy mark. They could support me for saying it, but then talk about it. And I credit others for what I wrote. I mean, that's the space, Dottie Nikki. Um, that's that's the space. You just I take it with a grain of salt. I would. Um, because having that kind of conversation, because you'll have those as soon as not I received that kind of pushback when I came out with the commandments, like this is kind of like guidelines and standards of conduct and all. If you realize, man, the sector ain't feeling that. They ain't feeling that. Is they have a taste for what they have a taste for at the time they have a taste for it. You may like it when somebody do it, but then as soon as somebody else do it, you don't like. I mean, you just kind of roll with it. No, I mean it's fine. Luka got 20 in the first. um Yeah, I mean, like with brother of a certain age, like his I remember his live with who was that, TMK and Grown Man. Like I dig the content, but I know it ain't for everybody. And that's a lesson I learned, and part of the reason why I kind of separated church from state and put my stuff over here. Thinking about doing a whole another show over on Rumble. Once I kind of figure out the mechanics of that, doing a show over there, with dealing with the politics and stuff, because it's real big over there. But I mean, like everybody, it ain't for them, and I will always encourage people. I mean, do what you feel like doing, and if they rock with it, they rock with it. If they don't, they don't. As long as you walk away from the microphone, walk away from your stream, y'all be like, yeah, I did a pretty good show. That's all you can really go for. That's all you can really go. Y'all know me. Sometimes it be the the one, the two, the threes, the fours, the fives over here. Like I do my best to get up here and provide the content. And if I walk away from it, like, yeah, that was a pretty good show. I think I made some good talking points. I think Gator Girl was wrong. I mean, that's how I like to feel when I walk away. That's how I like to feel when I walk away from the show. Even with the stuff in the other space, like once the show is over, like, okay, I did, did my fuckery and to my standard, and I'm good with it. I'm good with it. But let me get my behind up out of here, because I do want to get to this game. And you up here telling me Luka going off already. I gotta catch this. Like I said, tomorrow, time permitting, we will be doing a Freestyle Friday show. Make sure y'all tune in for that. Of course, I'll be over in the other space, doing the Lord's work. A lot of folks out here trying to rewrite history, and no. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. End you off with the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.